What's up, everybody? This is Presto
CorporalNosaj,
and you are listening to episode 78 of the Nintendads podcast. Happy f***ing Father's Day, everybody.
Happy Father's Day. It's me, Mario.
And me, Presto, still. This is our Father's Day Game Fest episode, and we're going to talk about the games that have been consuming our waking hours and most of our sleeping ones too. Diablo 4, Street Fighter 6, and then we're going to talk about Summer Game Fest because that happened, and there's so much news. It's such a long list. And we're going to try and go through it as efficiently as we can. But yeah, so hi. This is a little bit different of an episode. If you're viciously spamming in chat, hi guys. We're actually recording this episode on Saturday, June 17th, and we are going to publish it on Father's Day the 18th. So anybody who's watching a premiere of this on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch, we're not there. We're in the past, or you're in the future. I don't know how that works.
Did we put like a warning label above our heads that says not live? Because people are going to be like, da, 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 and we're going to be like,
yeah, nah. Well, we'll see. And if you're on an audio platform, none of this makes sense to you. You just listen to us anyway.
You are always in the future, and we are always in the past.
So in tried and true form, even though this is going to be the majority of the episode, Corporal, what are you playing lately?
Diablo, Zelda, Diablo, Zelda.
Are you really playing Zelda? I find that hard to believe.
I am. I have my dock is empty. My Switch is sitting downstairs next to my bed.
But why? You can play it on the Xbox downstairs too.
The Xbox is in the living room. The Switch sits on my bedside table. I'm like the old guy in those...
No, the Switch goes in the bathroom because it's the only one that can.
I'm like the old guy in those old TV shows who sits down in bed with a little nightlight and reads his book before he tucks himself into sleep, except it's the Switch and I'm playing Zelda.
Yeah, that's our generation. Can you imagine what retirement homes are going to look like when we're old people?
I can't wait.
It's going to be a mess. So you've been playing Diablo and a little bit of Zelda. I have been playing Diablo. I've been trying and failing to split my time between Diablo and Street Fighter 6. Although this week, it's probably been about even, because I streamed Street Fighter 6 this week. I've been playing it a bunch, still playing Diablo 4 a bunch, and just a sprinkle of Monster Hunter, because it got Primordial Malzeno in the last bonus update, which I have a whole lot of emotions about, it being the last update, but we'll get to all that. But yeah, Diablo and Street Fighter 6 are running my life. I have not touched Zelda since Diablo and Street Fighter 6 came out. Have not touched it. What are you drinking? What are you buying?
So when I was in Jersey at our last episode, the episode 77.
Yeah, 77 comes before 78. It's true.
Yes. Not to be confused with the episode 76 that we did, but episode 70. A little fuzzy on that one. Episode 77, Tears of the Kingdom review. When I was at your house, you had convinced my wife to use these powder hydration things.
Yes.
And we now have 4 flavors that we rotate through. And because I'm a bubbly whore. Everybody knows that I love LaCroix and bubblies, and you can't stop me.
You do love your LaCroix.
So I use some of the hydration powder inside the bubbly and give it that extra punch. And because you say that LaCroix tastes like it was placed in the same warehouse as a lemon. So
it's not, LaCroix isn't flavored, it's just like suggested.
So I add some of the hydration powder to that. or because our new fridge, we've got the ice maker and the water dispenser in the fridge now. So I just take my large mason jar, give myself a couple things of ice, a scoop of powder, give myself a little bit of water, and like shake it up violently. And then I just add more water.
What is
to
the
it.
hydration stuff called? I forget.
I don't even know. I'd have to look at my Amazon Prime box in order to look at it.
That's going to be like sorting for a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
The way you order things. Anyway, we'll put it in the show notes. Maybe we'll put it on the website or something. I am drinking. I got another one of these mixed packs that I really like from UFO. I thought it was called something else. I thought there was like a different. Oh no, it's UFO Beer Company. UFO Beer Company. It's summer officially, even though I drink this kind of beer all year round. But strawberry lemonade shandy, pretty standard, weird fruit flavored stuff for me. Yep. This is the company that makes that Florida orange you had when you were here too.
Yes, yeah, that was good.
It's good stuff. Many of these will be drank during yard work over the summer, and probably tomorrow or today if you're listening this today on Father's Day. Now, before we get started, we should cover a little tiny, eensy-weensy, insignificant pinch of news. So, two things happened since we last spoke here. So, Twitch passed these absurd guidelines for sponsored content. That was like, you can't have sponsored logos over more than 3% of your screen. You can't have baked-in ads. And pretty much universally, Ludwig did a really good recap on it. Everybody got pissed off, right? Everybody's like, this is terrible. This is bad. I'm going to leave Twitch. Some of the biggest media companies and streaming like groups on Twitch were like, if this goes through, One True King being the main one, we're like, if this goes through, we're out. We're done. Like, we can't make a living on these guidelines. And Twitch quickly tucked tail and reversed that decision. But then this week, they announced a 70-30 split between partnered streamers and the company. But then they changed the 70-30 split to a 50-50 split. And then they changed it back to 70-30 after some backlash, with the exception of you have to be partnered and you have to have 350 subscribers, not counting gifted or Prime subscribers, for 3 months to then get the 70-30 split. So it's basically just making streamers jump through hoops to get a fair cut. And Twitch doing things to piss people off is not anything new, but they've been pissing more people off than usual this week. Maybe it's the heat. I don't know. But this morning, news broke. This morning.
I love that.
This morning.
Yeah, no, I got it.
And then smorning. This morning. XQC, who is somehow the biggest streamer on Twitch, makes the most amount of money on Twitch, is known for raging and getting banned, used to be competitive Overwatch player. He got a deal to stream primarily on Kick, even though Kick said you don't have to be exclusive. You can continue to stream on YouTube and TikTok. Oh yeah, Twitch also made it this week so that nobody is allowed to multi-stream at all, at any level. Even if you're not partnered, not affiliated, you're just a guy who started a channel, you're not making any money. If you stream on 2 different platforms, and Twitch is one of them, they have the right to ban you, which is dumb.
So if you know us, you know that was a red flag.
Shh, don't tell. XQC signed a deal with Kick. Kick said, you can stream on as many platforms as you want. We don't care, but Kick is your home. Kick is your home base. That's where the primary platform is going to be. And they are paying him to stream on Kick for 2 years. 2 years. $100 million. Let's think about this for a second. $100 million. 100 million. Not a million, not 5 million. $100 million.
It's an insane number.
He is now officially paid more than LeBron James. LeBron makes 97 in 2 years.
So Kick also recently announced that they're talking about doing any streamer who wants to transfer over to their platform. They'll give them an hourly rate.
I've heard about
16,
this.
I think it's $16 an
hour. I don't think it's been finalized yet.
It hasn't been finalized, but that's what the rumors are. But I'll be honest with you.
$16 an hour?
That's a low amount, but if you're for somebody like us, it's a consistent income. I don't know.
I am not. So the biggest problem that people have with Kick, and I don't think we've ever even talked about this between you and I, let alone on an episode.
This is good.
Kick is owned by Stake, the same guy who owns Stake, and Stake is an online gambling company. And the majority of ads that play on Kick and the most popular streams on Kick are gambling. If you go to kick.com, the number one category is always casino games. So watching people play slot machines, roulette, whatever. So automatically, if you are like morally opposed to gambling, Kick is already like not on your good list. Kick also is, I would say, a little too relaxed with their guidelines because it's become a place where people can stream. I don't want to say they can stream hate speech, but people have basically it's like the Wild West on Kick. You really have to like do something completely out of pocket to get banned or flagged on Kick.
So in other words, it's Twitch in its first early years.
Kind of, yeah. Before Twitch decided that they could make a ton of money through advertisers, and advertisers said no more hot tubs, and then all that fun stuff. So I'm not against streaming on Kick. It just would have to be worth the effort because multi-streaming is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the news. XQC got $100 million. That's gross.
Yeah.
So much money. So that's the news. Moving right along. Diablo 4 is out.
We have had lots of pre-launch conversations about Diablo on our stream, on our podcast. Like, that we were going to be in on this game.
Oh, yeah. First of all, first question for Diablo. Did it live up to the hype? Did it meet your expectations?
Yes.
Because we played the beta, we played the server slam. Is the full game everything you hoped it would be?
It is all of the things that I didn't like about Diablo 3 improved upon. And because I didn't play Diablo 2 as much, that's as far as my opinion can go. But yes, I'm very happy with it so far. I wish the skill tree was a little bit more understandable. But
yeah,
I love the ability of being able to take my points back and then respec to try different things. It's one of the reasons why I discovered that I like the rogue, because I was putting all my points into the stabbies, and then I realized I can switch out to the bow and arrow, and then I was so much happier. So
to the stabbies. Now you're playing. Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I am also like, hell yes, it met my expectations. Yeah, it's just good. The gameplay is good. The open world is actually bigger than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
It's huge. It's huge. So what do you think of the story so far before we get into like the mechanics and things?
So we all know that I'm a story guy. I'm a story-driven guy. It's okay. It's good. It's decent. I really don't know what's going on, but it's good.
Right. Yeah. I just completed the story a couple of days ago, and at first I was like, "All right, I'm gonna sip this game slowly. I'm gonna sip and savor this story. I'm really treating it as like a a D&D style game, because it really has that level of detail where things tie in, like everything is voice acted. Like you talk to a random NPC who has no quest for you in town, and they can give you like a really well delivered voice acted line.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we still have the latest mainline Pokemon game with no voice acting. So I like the quality. Some of the cinematics, specifically at the end of the game, the cinematics in the last little nugget of the game are really, really good. Like, really good.
I don't know if I know what you're referring to, so I'm trying not to.
You don't, because you're not at the end of the story yet.
Okay.
But when you make it to the end of the story, I'm going to know, because you're going to call me and you go, holy shit, that was awesome. Did you see that? That was crazy. You were talking about that on the episode.
I'm afraid to honestly play some of this stuff online, because I'll be like having to deal with chat and other people who are going to join me, who are going to be like rushing through. Like I think near the very end of the game, I may want to play some of that story stuff offline so I can really enjoy it.
Yeah, I played the end of the story offline. But here's the other thing about the story. It's so long. It's too long. I feel like I'm Christopher, but it's too long. It just goes on and on. I will say the story pacing I don't like.
Really?
Well, you reach a point where it just feels extraneous, because you're playing, you're doing a thing, it's moving the story along, and then it just becomes like fetch quests. It's like, okay, travel all the way over here to this section of the map that you haven't been to yet to get an item, to get this person this, and then they're going to help you get into this, and then they're going to do this, and we got there, and oh, dagnabbit, Lilith's not here anymore. All right, now we're going to go here, and then we're going to do this. It just feels like a lot of the story missions feel like padding a little bit. Like they just feel like fluff. There's some fluff in there. Like an entire, and I posted this on Twitter, there's like an entire section of the game that can be summarized by the gang does drugs in the swamp. Because you do back-to-back missions that basically involve the characters doing drugs and hallucinating violently for like a good chunk of gameplay. And that's good. But it's a lot of extra stuff. What are you typing?
I am fixing some things from our show notes.
Oh. Like, I hear clickety clacks.
We did not include the Xbox Showcase stuff in our show notes, so I had to I had to quickly put some stuff in.
Okay. So story is a little long in the tooth. End game so far is pretty cool. I just got into it, but the post story stuff seems very fun, challenging. Classes. What class have you played? What class?
So I'm currently playing Necromancer.
Yeah, that seems to be insanely popular.
In demo, I played the Rogue, and I started to play the Wizard, but then I got cut off.
So how are you liking Necro?
So I like Necro. I'm not going to say that I don't like Necro. I think Necro is the best class to play if you don't want a challenge or you're new to Diablo.
Okay. Beginner friendly, because you got lots of buddies.
Very beginner friendly. It's almost hard. I no, that's not true. It's easy to get yourself killed, but it's a lot easier if you're playing Necro with a horde. coincidentally, I could play the exact same way with my rogue, and I am severely challenged. And then it becomes a matter of, can I use my movement to get myself out of situations? Can I, come in, take out these guys, come out, relax a minute, come back in, and like, I have to think tactically about it. So because of that, I think Rogue would be a better challenging playthrough, but Necro, I can show up and the party could be in the midst of something, and then I show up and all of a sudden now it's like, it's easy.
Yeah.
With that being said, we've got too many friends who are also playing Necro, so like there's not a balance of classes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we have like 8 Necros in our Discord at any given time, and not a barbarian to be found.
Yeah. Yep.
That's all. It's also interesting, the difficulty. So I went through, I don't think I died one time during the entire story.
Okay.
Maybe once when I like wasn't, no, I don't know. Maybe one time somewhere in there. But I was also playing Druid, and I was playing Werebear Druid, which is a tanky, thick boy.
Okay.
And your whole damage is dependent on you keeping your health high and having a huge pool of health, and then fortifying your health and overpowering, which bases the damage bonus on your health and your fortified health.
Yeah.
So I just turned into a giant furry lovable bulldozer. And so the challenge is interesting. It definitely, I felt like this was the challenge, right? You start off, so there's a little bit of a learning curve as you learn the abilities and like what to do. And then after that initial learning curve, I feel like it's flat for like 70% of the campaign. And then it sort of has these little spikes as you're forced to fight like a bunch of elites at a time, or some of the bosses can have a fair bit of challenge depending on your class. And then you clear the story, and then the game is like, okay, was that hard enough for you? And then it punches you in the mouth repeatedly. The difficulty difference between the story and everything after the story is black and white. So as much as you're like very comfortable playing through the story as Necro, as soon as you get through the story, your Necro is going to have to do some stretches. He's going to have to feed some hydration powder to his skeletons, because they are going to be dying every second. Which I don't hate. I wish it was a little more gradual.
Okay.
But I'm also under-leveled for endgame. I'm not even level 50 yet, and I've already upgraded to World Tier 3, so maybe that's my own fault. But you also have to really pay attention with your legendaries. Like, you have to have your build sorted, and you have to have your legendaries working in conjunction with your skills. I feel like the whole story, you can go through just leaning on your skills. You could not have any legendaries. Legendaries help, but I feel like you could go through the whole story kind of comfortably without legendaries. As soon as you beat the story, you need to have multiple legendaries that support your build. And if you don't, you are getting turned into grated cheese and sprinkled on pasta for demons.
Interesting. So I have not gotten to that point yet. So I'm maybe my comments about it is user friendly is great for the story.
Well, your comments for the campaign and the story are spot on. If we were having this conversation last week, I would be right there with you, being like, yeah, Druid is also easy, and we're both playing on World Tier 2. We're both playing on the harder difficulty of the story, and we're pretty much just cruising through it without any trouble. But the post game stuff is not easy. So what else? Oh, the clan. Let's talk about the clan real quick.
Holy, okay. First off, I don't know if it's like trauma, but I don't like that it's called clan.
I kind of wish it was called a guild.
Yeah,
that's what it's called in World of Warcraft, and that's probably why they didn't call it a guild.
I don't know. It's just like
I thought a cult.
Yes.
They should have called it a cult.
Yes. That's what they should have done. Yes.
I think that's thematically appropriate.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was looking for.
So in Diablo 4, you can start a clan, which is a guild, kind of like a cult, less Kool-Aid parties. But you basically start a group, and people can join your group, and you have a messaging board, you have a banner, you can assign ranks to people, and it basically just serves as a group. I thought there was going to be clan progression, like rewards for, and maybe that's coming later.
Yeah.
But right now it's just essentially you create a group, you have your own private chat, you can have a message of the day, and you can assign ranks, and you can promote people, demote people, all that fun stuff. So we made our clan, whatever. And when you make a clan, you get a little tag in front. That's like, I think you get like 6 letters. So we made the Nintendads clan. And the little affix that goes in front of your name is just dads, because it couldn't fit Nintendads, so it's just dads. And then the requests started coming in.
Holy. So
and
when you talk about like, so not everybody is on the East Coast, not everybody's in the United States, not everybody's in the tri-state area, not everybody has been in New York. But for those of you who can understand this reference, it was like the subway tram doors opened at Penn Station, and you are now trying to get across the platform to your next destination, and all of these people are just like, I'm trying to get into this little hole. Just like, like,
yeah,
the request that came in was insane.
Yeah, we were humbled and grateful and a little overwhelmed because I think it was within 4 or 5 days, we had gotten so many requests that we had maxed out the amount of people. You can have 150 people in your clan. And we maxed that out. And then I think you can have up to 25 like pending requests. And that was maxed out.
But then people who wanted to request to join, couldn't request to join. So then they would find our Discord name, go to our Discord and be like, hey, I want to get in. Let me in. And like every morning.
This is happening like
now.
Like a dozen
actively.
People a day.
Every morning I wake up and no lie, it's easily 5 people who've been added to our Discord, and I'm just giving them the Diablo clan tag so I know that these people are coming in for this reason. It's just thank you all.
It's awesome. We super appreciate the support.
Yes.
We are trying our best to keep up. The easiest way to get in, if you're listening to this and want to play with us, is to go to our Discord.
Yes.
Because essentially and I don't like to require people to go to our Discord to join us in an in-game thing, but the in-game management is not there.
Yeah.
You can only add, you can't even message somebody if they're not online to be like, hey, are you active?
So let me just also say this. The request steps in order to get in are you have to be able to request to get in. Now there's a gate there based off of how many are in the request queue. So like Presto was saying, if there's 25 people who are waiting to get a response from us, then you won't be able to request. So there's your first gate. So you want to be able to request. Okay, let's say you're able to request. You then have to request to join. Now you have to wait for one of us to accept your request and send you an invite. So once we've done that, now it's up to you to receive our invite and accept the invite. And then if there's room in the clan, because it's maxed out at 150, then you can get into the clan. So let me tell you.
So everybody trying to push through the door at once is not working.
No.
So if you want in, the streamlined thing is come into if you can't request, if you're met by the first gate and you can't even request because the queue is full, which it likely is because it always is, come into our Discord, give us your BattleNet name. That's the key. If you're in the Discord and you give us your BattleNet name, you're pretty much guaranteed to be in, because we'll clear out the queue, and then we'll tell you, okay, apply now. You'll apply, we'll accept you, and we'll upgrade you to member. Because foolishly, we just started accepting anybody who is requesting. So we have a big percentage of those 150 people are people who just like, oh, I want the dad's tag, and just requested. So basically, we're requiring you to confirm your interest and that you're an active member in our Discord, and then we will upgrade you from recruit to member. In a week or two, we're probably going to start removing all of the people with recruit status, which is people we just blindly accepted in the first couple of days because we didn't foresee having this problem. Sorry. But if you're an active member of the clan, we're saying it all the time in chat. We have it in the description. We have it in the daily message. You have to come to Discord. Give us your BattleNet name. We'll confirm that you're good to go.
And that's just purely so that we know that the people who are in the clan are people who are active, people who want to interact with us, and people who are going to be active in helping the clan. So,
yeah. So just logistics. But thank you guys so much for that support. Huge shout out to our clan community. You guys are awesome. Extra special shout out to Spaz. I got to shout out Spaz, because Spaz has consistently been there. He was one of the first people to get in, has been super helpful with people, has helped you with, I think, some necro builds, has offered gold in game for anybody who needs it, is like very active in our Discord. So be like Spaz.
So while your experience has been with Spaz, and yes, I have to say I appreciate Spaz, I've had Race Car.
Race Car
is phenomenal. He's open and communicative. He communicates a lot of times, even if he's not playing. He'll just be like, "Oh, hey, you remember you can go do this," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, thanks." Like he's fairly new to Diablo himself, so he's learning along the way. So he's just excited to be able to share the knowledge that he has learned and help other people. So I appreciate Race Car. So also, on our last stream, Race Car was watching from the gym, and we made the deal that if I said the word kill or killed, he had to do an extra 5 reps while at the gym. So
were you trying to kill him?
Honestly, I promised him I wasn't going to do it maliciously, but then Tri Kingdom Gaming was in chat and it goes, I don't care about him. Kill.
When you're playing Diablo, it's like the whole game is like killing.
But yeah, it was good stuff.
Also, huge shout out to our Discord mon, our clan officers, Mr. Wernicke, the one and only Nick Yeti, and Ascension for helping us manage the floodgates of requests and logistics of approving everyone. Any closing thoughts about Diablo before we move on? It's fun.
Everybody who comes into the chat says that Lilith is hot.
She's mommy. Yes, because she's mommy in like the weird contemporary meaning that word has, but then she's also literally the mother of Sanctuary. Like she and Anarius gave birth to the human race and to the Sanctuary realm. So not only is she the mother, she is mommy.
It's that weird, like, dominatrix thing that happened with the Resident Evil woman.
Oh, yes. 100%. 100%.
So
they
we're
know
aware
what
of
they're
it.
Doing.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing. It's not an accident. Are you kidding me? No way.
For a little while there, I was like, our entire chat is just filled with perverts. And then I finally met her and I was like, you guys.
People in hell get thirsty.
Yeah. Because they need to drink,
seems like a
they
natural
need to drink
thing
more
to
water. Drink more water. Hydration.
That's not what I'm talking about. Anyway. Next up, which is mostly just going to be me talking a lot.
Yep.
Is
I'll try to control you.
Street Fighter 6. Huge thank out. Shout out and thank you. It's a thank out. We don't edit. Even though this is recorded, we're not going to edit this. No. Too lazy. We don't have time to edit these anymore when we have so many games out. Okay.
Yeah.
Huge thank you and shout out to Capcom.
Daddy Capcom.
Daddy Capcom. Yeah, the Cap God, reaching their max pinnacle of glory with the games lately. But huge thank you to Capcom for hooking us up with the early access. I am now banned from competing in the Capcom Cup this year, so I'm not going to be winning that $1 million because I got the game a little bit early, but it was worth it, I think. And I suck, so that's, but yeah, huge thank you to Capcom for hooking us up. We're Capcom creators. You guys already know. You know what's up. We got the logo all over the place.
Mine's hidden behind the mic.
But Street Fighter 6. Oh, Street Fighter 6. So where do I even start with this game? Let me start where all good stories start, right in the middle. So Street Fighter 5 came out in sort of a not great state. The rollback code had weird delays. The content was lacking. There was no single player modes, or there was like very bare bones single player modes. And Street Fighter 5 took years to get to the point through updates and patches and DLC to where people were like, Street Fighter 5 feels like a full game. And then they went above and beyond, and I think Street Fighter 5 ended up in the end being a really decent game. But it came out in a really shaky state, and I think Capcom learned their lesson from that, because Street Fighter 6 arguably has more content than any other Street Fighter that's come out. People have been saying, it's gotten great reviews, 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s, of people saying that it is the most full and well-rounded package that Street Fighter has ever put out, and has the potential to be the best in the series from multiple different sort of viewpoints. And I agree with that. It's chock full of nuts. And by nuts, I mean different modes to play and characters and just things to really sink your teeth into. An absurd amount of art that you can unlock. Speaking of unlocking, hold on. My dog is trying to get out of my office. Hold on.
Dad. So, Street Fighter 6,
okay.
I think Street Fighter 6, I think, has some great potential in the fighting community.
Oh, it's so good. So Street Fighter 6, every time Street Fighter comes out, there's new mechanics, and this game's mechanic is the drive system. So you have a little gauge that's separate from your super meter. Super meter just builds up over time and based on your damage and stuff to do super moves, but the drive gauge gives you options to do a couple different things. It gives you drive impact, which is probably the most divisive and controversial mechanic. Basically, every character has the ability to do a super armor move that can tank through 2 hits, and you get a huge, delicious, juicy combo out of it. And that basically is meant to punish people from button mashing. If you ever played a sibling or a friend who would just and you're like, oh, they just keep hitting buttons and it's so stupid, but it works because they're just always throwing attacks out. Drive impact is your answer to that, because you tank through those hits and you sock them, and then you get a giant opening. But it's not so one-dimensional, because if you throw it out all willy-nilly, somebody can drive impact you back. So you can't. It's not just a win button. You have to use it. It's great against people being super offensive, but you have to make sure that you're going to be safe when you use it. Otherwise, you're going to get drive impacted and get punished. You also have the parry mechanic, which is not the same as it was in Third Strike. It's basically just a block that blocks high and low that uses your drive gauge. You have drive rush, which is sort of the higher level mechanic that the drive gauge uses. It basically lets you cancel attacks, any special cancelable attacks. You can drive rush into by tapping forward twice, and you cancel out of any move, and then the next move and any subsequent moves in that combo give you different basically gives you different frame data, and you have more frame advantage. So it allows you to basically extend combos where you wouldn't normally be able to extend them, do things on block that wouldn't normally be safe on block, and just open up new combo routes for things that wouldn't normally connect. But if you use this meter, it sort of acts like glue to keep it all together. And I think that's really cool because it's something that gives you creativity to create new things. And that in a fighting game is always a good thing. And then I think there's one other, it's the drive like impact counter, which is basically if somebody's all over you, you parry and then you forward, and it basically just pushes them away from you. It's like a combo breaker, basically. And you don't get any damage off of you, but it gives you some room to breathe. And then once you're out of your drive meter, so every time you get hit, every time you block, it chips away at your drive meter. Once you're out of drive meter, you're at burnout. And burnout means you take chip damage to your health from blocking, and you lose access to every mechanic that I've just talked about, which means someone drive impacts you, you cannot drive impact them back. You have to either take it or block and eat the chip damage. So being in burnout is terrible, but you really have to make a lot of mistakes to get there. It's not like you don't just end up in burnout for no reason. So I think this encourages offensive gameplay. I think this it punishes idle or defensive gameplay. And I think it allows for a lot of creativity. People are doing some sick stuff out there with the drive impact or with the drive system. So I would say the new gameplay mechanics are head and shoulders above the V-trigger system that was in Street Fighter V. I would say definitely has more nuance and complexity than the what is it? I don't remember what it was called in Street Fighter IV. But I would say this is the best system that they've put out since Third Strike, the parry system. Moving on, because I know we don't want to just hear me gush about Street Fighter.
Good job.
I like I'm self-censoring here. So there is a pretty big controversy in Street Fighter 6, and it is over something that was added, seeming like a pretty innocuous thing, is the control scheme.
So I'm going to tell you right now, go ahead and describe it, but I feel like I have a counterbalance for this, and this may cause a bigger debate.
Oh boy. Okay, cool. Okay, so when you're playing fighting games, specifically Street Fighter is what they call a 6-button game. Some buttons of some games are considered 4-button games. Street Fighter is a 6-button game. By 6 buttons, you have light, medium, heavy, light punch, light kick, medium punch, kick, heavy punch, heavy kick, or fierce punch, fierce kick. So it's a 6-button game. You have 6 basic attacks. And then when you want to do your specials, you have to do motion inputs. So that's the classic down, down, forward, forward, punch is Hadouken. Forward, down, forward is Shoryuken. Charge characters. You have to hold back and then hit forward and punch. So that's classic controls. That's the way fighting games have pretty much universally been. That's how Street Fighter has been. They invented the system. Modern controls add some differences. And I have to say, complete transparency, I am in full support of modern controls because I suck at motion inputs. If you want to do a special in motion inputs, a lot of the time it is like a double special. Or if you want to do a super, so you want to do your big finishing move, it's down, down, forward, forward, down, down, forward, forward, punch. And you have to do that, boom, like really quickly. And I'm terrible at it, let alone half circles, full circles for grapplers. Like, I can't do it. I've played a bunch of fighting games. I always am restricted in the characters that I can use based on their control scheme. I can't play grapplers because I can't do full circle things consistently. I can't really play charge characters with the exception of May and Guilty Gear. I'm just, my fingers are old and slow and they can only play Smash Brothers to some degree. But modern mechanics cuts it down and basically makes Street Fighter a 4-button game. You have light attack, medium attack, heavy attack, and whether it comes out as a punch or a kick is just sort of pre-baked into the character. And then you have a special button. And this is kind of reminiscent of Super Smash Brothers. Your special button.
That was my comment.
Yes. So your special button, you hit special, it does Hadouken. You do back special, it does another special, Tatsu. You do down special, it does donkey kick. You do forward special, it does Shoryuken. It basically maps those special inputs to a single button and a direction. Additionally, you have a dedicated parry button, dedicated throw button, dedicated drive impact button. It just simplifies everything so people who aren't familiar or who have a lot of trouble with execution can play and use their brain instead of, because when I'm playing a fighting game, half of my attention at least is trying to do inputs. And then the other half of my attention is actually playing the game. So I'm already at a disadvantage. This evens the playing field. Now, it does come at a cost. There is a 20% damage penalty for using specials and supers with this method. And you're basically losing half your buttons because you don't have light punch, light kick. You just have light attack, which could be a punch, could be a kick. You don't get to decide. It's you get what you get, and you don't get upset. You also get an assist button, which you hold, and you can hit assist, light, 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 and it will basically do a little mini auto combo. Assist, medium, 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 assist, heavy, heavy, heavy. That will end in a super if you have the meter. And then one more thing, and this one more thing is mostly the cause of the controversy. Those super inputs that I was talking about, where you have to do down, forward, punch, that take a second to do, even if you're proficient in them. It takes time to do those inputs. Those supers are now done by hitting 2 buttons, and that's it. And if you want to do a level 2 super, you hold back and hit 2 buttons. You want to do a level 3 super, you hold down and you hit 2 buttons. And it allows you, so say, here's where the controversy mostly lies. Me and Corporal are facing each other. We both have low health. He's full screen. He's throwing a fireball at me, right? Not punishable at that range. However, I'm playing on modern. I see him throw a fireball. If I was playing on classic controls, I'm not going to have time to do down, forward, down, forward, punch, and use my special to react to do that. Supers are always something that you have to combo into or do randomly and hope. You can't really do them on reaction because of how many inputs are involved. But with modern, you can, because I'm just fat fingering the 2 buttons. So being able to do an instantaneous super has people's panties in a twist. There's also just this form of elitism that's sort of like the old man saying, I had to go to school uphill in the snow both ways, and this generation's soft because you guys don't have to suffer like I suffered. And you just go, Grandpa, go to therapy. You need it. You do. So modern controls are basically giving people like me or new players the ability to play the game with limited buttons, with damage reduction, but be able to do stuff consistently.
For the record, I'm an old guy who had to go to school uphill both ways. In the snow, mind you, because I lived over the bridge. So I had to walk over the bridge and then walk over the bridge. So uphill both ways.
So did I, yes, and I was further away from the school from you, so I have even more right to complain. So, but there's this weird culture of people saying like, oh, modern. It's this weird thing because half the people are saying modern controls. People are using modern controls are babies. They'll never be real competitors. Oh, they need a handicap. But then that same group is also saying modern controls are cheating. You guys get access to supers. You guys get to do your specials with one button. You shouldn't be allowed in ranked. And I think you have to decide whether you think modern controls are too strong or too easy. I don't think you get to have it both ways. But I would say stick players, like people who play on arcade sticks, could say, oh, well, you don't have to move your whole stick. You just have to move your thumb. Or, oh, you're playing on a hitbox. You have just had to hit some buttons. That's cheating. You could have modern controls are in the game. Capcom has said modern controls are going to be legal in Capcom Cup and all forms of competitive play. If you have a problem with modern controls, get over it. If you complain about modern controls and you think they're unfair, you need to get good. I'm sorry. It's a control scheme that everybody has access to. If you hate modern controls that much and you think they're so OP, use them. Switch to modern controls. You won't because your ego it's so big you can't even reach around your ego to get to the controller. Modern controls aren't the problem. You're the problem.
So how's that online play?
The online play is fantastic. The online play is amazing. The rollback is really good. We have we can make private rooms to play with people. You can do quick play, of course, all that kind of stuff. We have a club, which is not a clan or a cult or a guild. It's a club, yet another name. We have free sweatshirts. If you join our club in Street Fighter, search the Nintendads, you will get a free Nintendads sweatshirt for your character in-game, designed by yours truly. It looks nice, I think.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Huge shout out to some of our community members that have been playing with me. Rayhe, Black Ice, Nick Yeti, of course, Tri Kingdom Gaming, and Blackbeard Slim. Now, Tri Kingdom Gaming.
So before you say anything else, is Ray, Black Ice, Nick Yeti, Blackbeard Slim, and Tri Kingdom Gaming, are they like the officers of the clan in Diablo?
They are no. They're just people.
They're just
people that I play with. They're people because I want to grow. I want to grow our Street Fighter scene because I want people to play with, and I want to potentially host some tournaments that I am definitely not going to win or get very far in. But in the spirit of competition, I would love, if you're listening to this and you play Street Fighter, please come to our Discord. We have a growing amount of people that I want to have more people in our fighting game community chat, exchanging tips, doing training rounds, playing with on stream. The more people that are involved in a fighting game community, typically the better it is. So come through. But those are all people. Rayhe is a content creator. Blackbeard Slim is a content creator. And I think Tri Kingdom is also a content creator. Yeah.
Yeah.
So check
not
them
as
out.
active as Rayhe or Black Ice, but
well, not yet.
True.
I heard he's into Marvel though.
Yeah, he is into Marvel. So Presto's queuing me up in such an awkward manner.
Not awkward. I can't be. What do you? Look at the thing behind you. What does that have to do with anything?
So a big shout out to Tri Kingdom Gaming. First off, he came into the stream and gave it his all to kick Presto's butt in Street Fighter. And from my understanding, you guys, took rounds with each other. It was good.
Oh yeah, it was a good time.
But Tri Kingdom Gaming called me up and was like, "Hey, you like Marvel, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah. What's your favorite Marvel character?" And I was like, "Well, Deadpool or Wolverine?" Because you can't have the Deadpool. He's mine. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay,
by the
sure.
Way, slight clarification: Corporal knows Tri Kingdom Gaming in real life. This isn't just like
some random person
found his phone number. Yeah, it's not a stalker situation. Just want to clarify that.
I mean, maybe it is.
Like,
we haven't
Try Kingdom Gaming. He was in our chat, and then he was calling me up, asking what my favorite Marvel character was.
Well, maybe he called me on Discord. You don't know.
But I do know.
Anyway, Try Kingdom Gaming gave me this Wolverine to put on my wall. He knows that my streaming setup is in a closet, and he calls me Harry Potter, and he thinks that I live underneath the staircase. So he wanted to help.
I didn't know that. That's good.
He wanted to help spruce up the place. So, true story. This is handmade by a guy and hand painted by a guy who has no fingers. He was born with just his knuckles, and he did this by hand. And he has a whole Instagram and Etsy shop where you can buy these. Try Kingdom Gaming has the information, and we'll go ahead and we'll share it in the description and post it so that you guys can find it if you want. I've seen at least 15 other pieces like this that are in Try Kingdom Gaming's gaming room. Thanos, the Hulk, Wolverine, Deadpool, like you name it, he's made it. And it's not just Marvel, he's done other things. They are really cool. So this is made from plywood.
Do half as good of a job with 3 hands. So that's really impressive. And where's mine? That's my main question. Look at all this real estate I have. You see that? It's pitched. It's sort of at an angle. Sorry, podcast listeners. It's a pitched roof. It's like sort of like a Cape Cod, finished attic kind of deal. But I got real estate to fill, man. Where's mine?
Okay. All right. We'll figure
I don't know if
out.
I have a standout favorite Marvel character, but I'm sure we could figure it out.
I mean.
Anyway, other things about Street Fighter 6, and I'm probably going to do a full video review talking about a lot of what I just said. World Tour mode is the story mode. I'm not crazy about it, but you can unlock a lot of cool cosmetics. It's cool. You can level up your character. You can adopt different styles. You can basically make an amalgamation of character specials. So you can have, Chun-Li's spinning bird kick with Ryu's Hadouken with Dhalsim's stretchy arms. Like it's a complete, you can make some real abominations with it. But it's cool. It's definitely new for fighting games. I don't think there's ever been a fighting game that has had like an RPG adventure style thing. And you can fight people in the streets. In this game, you just walk up to people and you punch them in the face. It's like an old lady reading a newspaper. You just go boom, and then all of a sudden you're in a fight with Ethel from Connecticut, and you just beat the crap out of her for XP. So that's cool.
Is that the World Tour mode?
Yeah, that's World Tour mode.
Okay.
World Tour mode is literally you fight people in the streets.
I say I would play the game just for that.
It's so.
I don't care less about like the actual fighting. I just want to be a big buff dude walking down the street and seeing some grandma and just deck her, and then all of a sudden it's
watch out because grandma's got hands too.
Yeah.
Grandma, you better watch out. Grandma might have Zangief's moveset, and she might pile drive you into the pavement. You don't know.
I feel like it's Final Fantasy, where like you're just walking. Final Fantasy 7, you're just walking, and then all of a sudden it's like,
you're like no!
You're in a combat section.
Last point is visuals and sound. And I was talking about this on my stream earlier this week. The visuals and the sound are so good. Street Fighter V's like theme was just like fighting game, but Street Fighter 6 has like elements of like hip hop and rap and like contemporary music, and it's got some like little lo-fi jazz stuff in there for music, and it also has this like sort of like neon pinks and purples and blues like elements in like the lighting and the menuing, and I really vibe with the visual design and what the team has done for Street Fighter 6. And maybe that means I'm basic because they probably put it together to appeal to the largest amount of people. But like you see these colors, right? This is magenta and this is like aqua or teal. These are like primary colors in every menu of Street Fighter 6. Like my mic, like look at this thing. It's glowing colors. Like that's like Street Fighter 6. It just really has a lot of flavor and personality, especially I think in comparison with Street Fighter 5, which was just like bland. I don't know. I think about Street Fighter 5 and it hurts my brain a little bit compared to Street Fighter 6. But this is the most fun I've had playing a fighting game since Guilty Gear Strive. I think I'm enjoying it a lot more than Guilty Gear Strive because I'm not fighting inputs. I'm just hitting the buttons I want to hit and it does the things I want to do, which is amazing. So definitely pick up Street Fighter 6 if you're interested in fighting games, even if you're not. Gosh, this is going to be a long episode.
I mean, you just gave us 15 minutes, if not more, of just Street Fighter, so...
I mean, that's fair. That's like a big chunk of the episode. Monster Hunter did their bonus update with Primordial Malzeno, and I played it. I streamed it. It was a hell of a fight. Y'all came through and supported. Huge shout out to Twas by Design for the raid. I got raided with 38 people in the middle of the hardest fight in the game, and I panicked. I was trying to say hi to everybody in chat. I was trying not to die. Thankfully, I had some really good people hunting with me, but it was stressful, but wonderful. So thank you, Capcom, again. I might also do a standalone video on Monster Hunter and just the whole trajectory of Rise and Sunbreak because it's become one of my favorite games of all time. Definitely my favorite game on the Switch. And the Monster Hunter community has been a huge part of the Nintendads story so far.
And our growth,
so,
yeah.
Thank you guys for that. Primordial Malzeno is grossly hard and... but we beat him. I beat him. I only carded once, so that's good. Yeah, that happened. So check him out if you haven't fought him already. Summer Game Fest.
Okay, on to the real things that matter.
Listen, I will drive impact you in the face.
So, Summer Game Fest, the PlayStation Showcase and the Xbox Showcase, things were kind of broken up into different sections. Some of this stuff is kind of mixed together. Some things that were announced in the Xbox Showcase that were a part of Capcom, but Capcom also released them in the Capcom Showcase, or things that were expanded upon in the PlayStation Showcase, but were initially announced in the Xbox Showcase, and so on and so forth. We didn't organize any of this. It's just based off of the game itself. So, some of this stuff is going to be a very quick run through. Like, hey, this was announced. Do you have any thoughts on it? No. Okay, cool. Hey, this was announced. Are you interested in playing it? No. Okay, cool. Like, we're just giving it some shout outs to these things because there's a lot to cover. If there's something here that you truly wanted us to have a conversation about, leave a comment, come over to Discord, drop it into the Discord channel, and we'll be more than happy to talk more about it. But with our limited time, we're going to kind of run through this. Presto, the first thing that I have on our docket is Cyberpunk 77. It is the new DLC. Go ahead.
Yes! Sorry. Yes. Give it to me. Give it to me now. I love Cyberpunk. I have the Cyberpunk art book for the game right back there. I'm a huge Cyberpunk fan. I was not super interested in Phantom Liberty at first, but they're reworking a lot of the systems. Some of the developers have said, I wish this was the product that we launched with, because Cyberpunk launched in a hot mess of a state.
Yeah.
So they've incorporated a lot of things that they wish they could have done into the expansion. Cyber Psychosis is being added, which is, if you've watched the anime, if you use too many augments, your character starts to go nuts. And I always thought that was a core concept that they skimped, that they should have included, and here they're including it.
If you don't know what he's talking about, go to, it's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, Netflix, Edge Runners.
Go to Netflix, type in Cyberpunk, or just type in Edge Runners, because that's the name of the show, and watch it. It's actually pretty good.
It's amazing. Did you watch it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's delicious. I started rewatching it recently.
Have you really? It's good?
A lot, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a big thumbs up for me. I will be playing it. It's fantastic.
High on Life. If you don't know High on Life, it's from the creators of Rick and Morty, I believe. And they created a video game. You are a human. Aliens come to Earth. You get attacked. One of the aliens dies. You pick up his gun, and suddenly the gun starts talking to you. And we are talking like Rick and Morty or South Park type humor. Like, this gun has a personality.
The writing is very funny.
Yeah. So High on Life is getting a DLC calling High on Knife.
So here's a question. So one of the main writers and the voice of a lot of characters in Rick and Morty is Justin Roiland, who was arrested for domestic abuse.
I was wondering if you were going to bring this up.
To put it lightly. And is basically, I hate to say it, he's canceled because he's like, he was beating the shit out of people.
Yeah.
So Justin Roiland is out of the picture for Rick and Morty, and he voices like half of the characters in the game. So how is that gonna happen?
So I don't actually know this for a fact, but I will say I've watched them remove voice actors from Destiny and recast them, including old things. So it can be done.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I know there's one specific guy on TikTok that sounds exactly like him that I don't think I would be able to tell the difference. But I'm just wondering, how that's going to work.
I mean,
but it seems fun. High on Life is hilarious. I've seen people play it. It's really funny adult humor.
So I think the humor and the writing in the game is better than the gameplay itself. It's a casual sitting on your couch shooting game.
First person shooter, sci-fi adventure kind of stuff. But you're playing it for
the writing and the humor.
You're playing it for the lulz.
Yeah, most certainly. Microsoft Flight Simulator, they announced their new version, Flight Simulator, and a bunch of DLC. They also announced other ships and other vehicles that can be used. Like the Dune Dragonfly is being added to Microsoft Flight Simulator.
The Thopter?
Yes, the Thopter.
Yes. Thopter, it's so fun to say.
Yes.
I love the Thopter.
So if you're into flight simulators, let me tell you, they have some absolutely beautiful graphics. And the trailer had, Coast Guards coming in to rescue people, air tankers or water tankers coming in to put out fires. There are, simulations that you can load up into that are very cinematic. Really cool things.
I have a question. Have they figured out how to make it run where your computer or console doesn't overheat and sound louder than an actual jet engine? Because that's what's always been my barrier. In addition to having an entire data center to install it, because it's over 100 gigs.
So I can install it on my Xbox.
If you delete everything else off of it first?
I mean, I've got a terabyte drive in the back end, so... But, I mean, yeah, I can install it on the Xbox. But let me tell you, it takes some loading screens to really get there.
Yeah. So, that seems cool.
You and I played this game on its early access demo release. It's beta testing.
Exoprimal,
yes. So, for those of you who don't know, Exoprimal is about the Earth and all of a sudden a fracture in the space-time continuum or whatever issue has caused that dinosaurs are now being, there's a thunderstorm, and out of the thunderstorm comes all sorts of dinosaurs that are falling from the sky. And humans have developed these exosuits that are themed after some of these dinosaurs that they are fighting, and they don these exosuits which have different abilities and different, perks to fight the dinosaurs that are coming through.
So I had more fun with this game than I thought I was going to.
I'm going to tell you right now, what I just said sounds like somebody's on crack on the side of the Louisiana streets. I'm telling you.
It is a very...
It's twisted.
It's a very, out there premise. And most of the time you're fighting, you're not actually fighting the dinosaurs. It's framed in that there's a computer, there's an AI that's putting you into simulations to make a better exosuit to fight actual, and it's just like, wait, what? It's like it just becomes really a little bit convoluted.
There's some Inception
but I had
going
more
on.
fun. I had more fun playing this than I thought. Most importantly, this is sort of like a AAA title by Capcom. So shout out Capcom. That is going to launch on Game Pass, and I think that is where they are going to see a thriving player base.
Let me tell you, the concept for this game is so far out there. I almost want to say it's unrealistically appeasing, but the gameplay is actually a lot of fun.
Ooh, it's a 5v5, so it's PvEVP, but you don't. They changed it so you're not actually fighting other players. Basically, you and another team are fighting through the same level and the same challenges, and you win by completing it faster.
Now, in the beta, if you both get to the end zone at the same time, then you have to defeat the other team.
Yes, they took that out.
Really? I didn't know that.
People did not like it.
Wow.
Which I sort of understand, because the characters and the classes and the exosuits are designed with crowd control, and they're designed to be played against the dinosaurs. And then when you pit them against each other, it almost doesn't make sense to play some of the classes.
Yeah.
And it just felt like you had a good game, and then you had an unfinished game, and the unfinished game you were being forced to play at the most important part of the match.
Yeah.
To determine who wins. So people weren't into that, so they took it out, which I think is really,
smart. Yeah.
Not most developers will not do that. Well, I'm still screaming at the top of my lungs to Nintendo to fix their online for Smash Brothers, fix their online for Splatoon. Do they listen to me? No. Exoprimal, good on you for responding to your community's feedback.
Daddy Capcom. The next one I only put in because of how absolutely weird it is.
Lightyear Frontier.
So,
mech-based multiplayer farming?
Farming. Yes.
Like farming.
Lightyear. So you are I don't know if you want to call it.
You're a farmer.
Yeah, but
you're a farmer and a mech pilot.
Lightyear Frontier is a space farming simulator with mechs. That's the tagline.
Okay,
so you are in outer space. So think of Slime Rancher, but with mechs and not slime, but actual farming things.
So this seems like it's for the person who played MechWarrior growing up, but has since become a more chill, sensible gamer and Stardew Valley, and now this is here for them.
I'm going to try and send you a Facebook Messenger picture so that you can see this, because it's actually kind of entertaining.
It seems like an interesting / confusing concept.
Oh, I just accidentally closed my show notes.
But I got the picture. Oh. Okay.
Right?
Okay, I kind of see it.
It's a little weird.
It's weird. It's like Minecraft meets MechWarrior.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a thing.
So, it's an idea.
Mech farming.
Yep.
Fallout 76 Atlantic City. So is this DLC to Fallout 76?
Yeah, so if you remember, Fallout 76 is the online Fallout. So it's the
it's the West Virginia.
yeah. So it's constantly growing.
Radiation.
So they've added in the Blue Moon trailer, which is like an add-on, and then they've announced the Atlantic City DLC. So you're going to be able to travel to Atlantic City. Now we're talking about Atlantic City.
Instead of being post-apocalyptic Atlantic City, it's just Atlantic City like it is right now. Because if you've been to Atlantic City in the last couple of years, that's basically what it looks like. It already looks like a Fallout game, so that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Little Kitty, Big City. I brought this in here just because we are the Nintendads and we have little kids, and my sushi cat will love this game.
Little Kitty Big City. I like the name. It's fun to say. Little Kitty Big City.
So this next game, you have to truly have seen the trailer to appreciate this, but it is a beautiful game. Another Crab's Treasure. Another Crab's Treasure. I know
this game. I know this game.
Okay.
We've talked about this before.
Yes.
Actually. So this is, hold on. Let me read the Steam description for you. First of all, the developer is called Aggro Crab. This is in a vibrant undersea kingdom on the verge of collapse, a hermit crab embarks on a treasure hunt to buy back his repossessed shell. This is a Souls-like, yes, you heard that right. This is a Souls-like adventure set in a crumbling underwater world where you play as a crab. Krill the hermit crab, you'll need to wear trash around you as shells to withstand attacks from enemies many times your size. So this is a Souls-like crab game where you upgrade your shell. A crab-like, if you will. I think this is amazing.
I love this concept. When I first saw this trailer, I was sold. The beauty of this game is phenomenal.
Oh my god, it's coming out for Switch.
We're gonna play it. I mean, I was gonna play it if it wasn't coming out for Switch.
This is amazing. Play at your own pace. Designed to be an approachable experience for new Souls-like players as well as provide a challenge for hardcore fans, Another Crab's Treasure offers something for any level or skill or time commitment. So, assist options are provided. Oh, it's got modern controls. Everybody panic.
So imagine you're a crab and you're going up against some bad guy and you need better armor. You better go back to the trash bin and see if you can find yourself a metal soup can so you can level yourself up and go fight that whatever that bad guy is. Like,
well, if you go back a couple games and you go to Atlantic City, you can find anything you need.
So Daddy Catcom has released.
Wait, you skipped one. Sea of Stars.
Sorry.
Did you skip that intentionally? Sea of Stars.
I mean, whatever. Daddy Capcom reveals the Path of Goddess, which is a very unique. I don't want to say Japanese-esque, but it's a...
it looks like Sekiro,
yes.
Shadows Die Twice. It looks like a Souls-like type thing, Path of Goddess. It looks dope.
It does.
It looks cool.
It was originally world revealed on the Xbox showcase, and then later followed up on the Capcom showcase. So I wonder
Capcom sharing their sauce.
I wonder if maybe they're going to release it for Xbox or what the game the deal was there, but that was a thing.
Going back to Sea of Stars real quick, I did play the demo of this.
So yeah, I purposely didn't. I purposely didn't talk about this one. I was going to jump to this one because I know that you played the demo. I wanted to give you a chance to talk about it.
Yes, I did play the demo. It is really cool. It's sort of a modern take on a classic, like pixel style JRPG. So think, I don't know, like the older Final Fantasies, Secret of Mana. Golden Sun. It reminded me a lot of Golden Sun.
Okay.
From the Game Boy Advance days. And it's cool if you like retro RPGs. check this one out. It's got some cool stuff. I'm gonna visit the little Nintendads room real quick while you gush about Starfield.
So Starfield. Oh my God, Starfield. I am sorry for anybody who's listening on headphones, and I just broke your eardrums. Let me tell you, Starfield has gone through some huge development problems. They have been delayed and delayed and delayed. And I quite frankly don't care. If I get what I saw in that trailer, I'm sold. I'm done. This is the perfect example, I think, of Cyberpunk 77 shoved out a game despite its delays, and it was not complete, and it got trashed by the reviewers. People were requesting refunds left and right. Where Starfield saw that and refused to allow a half-baked game and kept it held back for, I think it's now 3 years it's missed its release date or more, and I am so excited for what I saw in this trailer. So Presto, I was just saying that this kind of reminds me of Cyberpunk 77, where they, despite its delays, they rushed out a game, and then it crumbled and failed once it was in the hands of the players. And
Starfield?
No, Cyberpunk 77.
Oh yeah.
And how I'm saying how I am so grateful that Starfield didn't take that same path and release this game. How they kept holding it back and kept holding it back, which I think is like 3 years past its release date, so that they can polish this to prevent that from happening. If we get what we saw in the trailer, I think it was justified for their delay, and I am very excited to see it. And I was going to say that this very much gives me No Man's Sky meets Destiny, and becomes this that's their offspring. That's their child.
Yeah, with some Mass Effect in there, maybe.
Yes.
For good measure. It looks interesting to me. It's gonna have to be really good to take, because I have like a couple categories in my brain, and those categories typically can only be filled by one game at a time. So for example, when I want to play a space exploration game, I'm going to play No Man's Sky. If I'm going to play a racing game, I'm going to play Horizon 5. Because space exploration games, there's typically a very high learning curve. You typically have to dump hours and hours and hours to get to a point where you can really enjoy the game freely. Starfield is really going to have to pull out the stops if they want to get me away from No Man's Sky.
I think they already have done that for me.
I haven't looked into it as much as you, so that's fair. And if you play it, I will probably play it. Like, I'm a pushover for peer pressure. But I have to say it, and I know you're gonna go, oh, blah, blah, blah. But it's a groundbreaking, innovative game with space and blah, 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 blah. But it runs at 30 frames per second.
Bite me.
30 frames per second?
You know what?
I know I'm hypocritical because Monster Hunter runs at 30 frames per second, but Monster Hunter Rise runs at 30 frames per second on the Switch, which is basically a glorified TI-84 calculator at this point. But when Monster Hunter Rise got ported to PC, it runs at 60. When it got ported to all the other modern consoles, it runs at 60. Starfield will be the only game that comes out for modern consoles that runs at 30 frames per second.
Let me ask you, does No Man's Sky run at 60 frames per second?
Usually higher. Uh-huh.
Do you think No Man's Sky has the same fidelity of graphics that Starfield has?
I haven't looked at Starfield enough to...
I don't think so. I think No Man's Sky leans more into its cartoonish style in order to reach that. And I think, graphically speaking, while No Man's Sky may be just as beautiful, it does not have the same type of level of graphic arts that's been done to it.
Okay.
And from what I have seen from the trailers, I will tell you, this game, Starfield, looks like the epitome of this world is lived in.
No.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but they're only living at 30 frames per second. Is that a life? Is that a life worth living? So here's a thought.
I'm sold.
No Man's Sky you can play in VR, right?
Yes. Yes.
Starfield, if they said, "Oh, you can play Starfield in VR," you would vomit blood playing a VR game at 30 frames per second. You would get sick. Your brain would ooze out of your nose and your ears, and that would be it for you. I am not against it. I'm not saying that I won't get it, but I'm saying it basically is competing in a category that has some heavy hitters, being No Man's Sky, which is now beloved by the community.
I'd like to point out that how bad No Man's Sky launched and how far they came.
But they've been updating it. You've done like 20 free updates over the course of like 5 years, like crazy. Like they've gotten so many awards for putting more like free stuff into their game than like any game ever. They're going to have to do some pretty crazy stuff at 30 frames per second to really, and it's not like, oh, here's the game, it runs at 30 frames. It's like, here's the game that's been delayed for 3 years and it runs at 30 frames per second. Like they're running out of like chances here.
I hear you, but
the game has to launch flawlessly and blow everybody's socks off.
So you mentioned
to justify the delays in the frame rate.
You mentioned Mass Effect. Let me tell you, I loved me some Mass Effect. And Mass Effect has some deep lore. And on top of
what does Mass Effect run at? What frame rate?
It's so old, it probably is like 20. Like it's
nobody runs at 20.
So, but I love me some Mass Effect. And it has an excellent combat system. And this is a game that's being released. Starfield is being released from the same company, same developers who have given us, for me, Fallout and Skyrim, which are both excellent world building games.
What frame rate does Skyrim run at?
Bite me. I don't care.
It's lived in at 60 frames per second. Okay, I'm done. I won't make any more.
I will take the 30 frames. I am excited to see Todd Howard give me a 30 frame per second cupcake, and I'm going to eat all of it.
Cake's a lie. You should have known that.
It is.
Speaking of stars, Star Wars Outlaws. Pew, pew, pew. Give me all your open world adventure.
Open world adventure is what I thrive on. This is one of the reasons why, if you've been watching us long enough, take a shot, that we said in, I think, our first or third episode that they need to be giving us an open world Pokemon. They need to be giving us an open world Zelda. And I am so excited about this open world Star Wars. They literally talked about in the trailer that you could be running in Star Wars on some planet and see a ship fly overhead and decide to follow that ship over the horizon where it has landed at a city port, and then jump on another ship to go off into the distance. And just like in Starfield, I'll tell you that
I was just gonna say, why are you playing Starfield if you have Star Wars?
This is what I want for my life. I want both these games.
Just want to live in space.
I do. I'm ready. I sat down in bed the other night and couldn't sleep, so I rolled over and turned on Amazon Prime, and I watched The Martian. Mark Wahlberg getting stuck on Mars. So.
No, Matt Damon.
Sorry, not Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Damon. Mark, he'd be dead. He'd be like, Maz, Why am I on Mars? Yeah.
So I've got a fascination with space.
I do.
Right now.
I've been itching to watch Interstellar again.
That's available on Amazon Prime too.
Yeah, it doesn't run at 30 frames per second. Yeah, but Star Wars Outlaws looks pretty cool. Might have to check that one out. I think that will be also Star Wars. I believe is Outlaws being done by EA? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Well, if it is, that would be a great thing for us to
our EA partnership.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's Ubisoft. Dag nabbit.
I love me some Ubisoft games though.
They're Ubi good.
Final Fantasy 5, 6, 7. Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth.
Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth looking kind of good. I did not get the Final Fantasy 7 remake, the first chapter where you're in Midgar. Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is the part of the story in Final Fantasy 7 where you get to branch out of the city and go into the open world. They have already said it's going to come on 2 discs, which what does that mean? What does that mean? Square Enix. Because Final Fantasy, the first game, came out on 3 discs.
The entire game.
The entire game. This second part is coming out on 2 discs, and discs hold a lot more.
Yeah.
So like, it looks interesting, and I've also seen that you don't necessarily need to have played the first part of the remake to play this. So I'm interested.
I mean,
especially if it launches on PC, that might be a pickup at launch for me. It's probably not.
I'll be honest with you. I've watched Horizon Chasers, or My Name is Jeff, to play the first part on the PlayStation, and it looks so good, and they've just made things better with this next installment. I'm interested. This is on my top shelf watch list.
So, let's see. I'm just doing a quick search. No, it's not going to launch on PC, so I don't care.
So, Spider-Man 2 got a release date.
That's awesome, because I've been wanting to play Spider-Man / Spider-Man Miles Morales for years.
Yep.
And that finally Spider-Man Miles Morales finally came out on Steam just in time to be completely ignored by me because I'm swimming in a sea of other games.
Yep.
Every time Steam taunts me, provokes me, tortures me by sending me an email being like, hey, Spider-Man Miles Morales is on sale for 50% off. Don't you want it? And I'm like,
see, that's exactly how they get me. I have no self-control. When I get those emails,
I can't. It's on sale right now. It's on sale right now.
This is the exact reason why I own every single Assassin's Creed game that it's ever been made. I haven't even played them.
Your backlog gives me anxiety to even think about.
It gives me anxiety.
It's like an episode of Hoarders.
It is. That's why I switched to digital only, because you
ran out of space. I ran out to move your setup into a closet. Okay, so we're gonna try, because we're
an hour and 33 minutes for this episode.
We're in the twilight of respectable times for a podcast here. Mortal Kombat 1. Oh no, I said we're gonna hurry up, and then I just walked into a landmine. Mortal Kombat 1 is the most gory fighting game I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Did you saw the trailers for this?
Yeah.
Jesus. But it looks good. The gameplay, I've watched the gameplay. I tried really, really hard on multiple occasions to get into Mortal Kombat 11, because I love playing fighting games with Nick Yeti. Me and Nick Yeti playing fighting games, we have known each other and we've been playing fighting games together for so many years, we can read each other, and I could play anybody else in the world, but if I play Nick Yeti, it's a different game immediately because we click in that way. So any opportunity to play the same fighting game as Nick Yeti, I jump on. I tried so hard to get into Mortal Kombat 11. I bought the game used, returned it within a couple days. I borrowed the game from Nick Yeti, gave it back to him, said, I'm sorry, I can't do it. And maybe that's my fault because I did try to play it on the Switch and it was one of the worst Switch ports that I've played.
So Lady Sage wrecked me. Absolutely wrecked me in Mortal Kombat 11. I got on Xbox. Lady Sage has memories growing up as a young little girl, sitting on her dad's lap, playing the original. So, like, Mortal Kombat holds a special place. And let me tell you, I was not expecting the spanking that I got. I deserved it.
So, okay, so this begs the point. Are you getting Mortal Kombat 1? Are you going to get into Mortal Kombat 1?
I might, just so I can play it with Lady Sage.
That's reason enough, yeah. It looks faster. They've introduced the cameo, with a K, of course. The cameo system, which is basically you get an assist. And typically we see this. Marvel vs. Capcom has this. Dragon Ball Z has this. Assist fighters are usually reserved for anime-style games, which are disgustingly fast-paced, like long, insane combos. Incorporating assists in Mortal Kombat, I don't think was anything that anybody ever expected. I think it's going to add a nice layer of complexity to it, which is what we want in our fighting games. I personally find it a little too gory. Like, I don't want to see live leak like footage every time I boot up a game. But my real main concern is that if it plays like an NRS game, NRS is NetherRealm Studios, the makers of Mortal Kombat, and they're an amazing studio. They make some amazing games. Mortal Kombat gameplay to me is usually so boring, and I can't do it. It feels unresponsive. It feels like when I'm playing Street Fighter or I'm playing Guilty Gear or even Smash, I feel like I'm in control of my character, right? That I know the weight of my character, I'm doing things, I'm controlling the character. When I play Mortal Kombat, I feel like I'm sitting at a soundboard, and when I hit the buttons, it triggers like a short cinematic of a move, rather than controlling my character. And I don't know what other way I can describe it, other than it just feels really awkward and clunky and stiff and just like I don't know what it is, but there's just something about specifically Mortal Kombat 11 that didn't like the feel of it. And it was just like, if you watch Mortal Kombat 11, it's like the same combos over and over and over again. And I think Mortal Kombat 1 is going to fix that because it looks like there's a lot more creativity. And it's not going to be the same combos over and over again. But it needs to feel more responsive and less like, okay, hit a button, I grabbed you. Now I'm just going to sit here for 3 seconds while your character gives my character, a colonoscopy. I don't want that. I want to, anyway, I'll try it.
We said we were going to blow through this list and we're dragging our way.
I know. Okay, the next one. Fortnite Wilds gets revealed. Transformers crossover. I don't give Transformers. I don't give a shit about Fortnite. Sonic Superstars. New 2D classic Sonic game coming this year. This looks fire. I'm going to get this. Sonic, what was the one that came out? Whatever. The latest contemporary 2D Sonic game was great. I have it on computer, PC. It's wonderful. This looks cool. I can't wait to have my son play this. I hope we get a demo of it soon. Looks really cool. Alan Wake 2.
Star Trek Infinite. The only reason why I even put this on the list is because I am currently watching the Star Trek Next Generation Captain Picard series. So
your whole life, you're currently watching a Star Trek. That's not a thing.
I mean,
that's new.
there's that many Star Treks in existence. So
but you are a Trekkie, so that's cool. That looks cool.
Sandland, Arkia Tyromia.
Sandland. So Akira Toriyama is like, if you've seen Dragon Quest or you've seen Dragon Ball Z, that's Akira Toriyama. So it's very it's a very specific style that you know immediately. And Sandworld or Sandland is this like open world adventure where humans and demons live together, and it sort of looks like an action RPG. It looks cool. It kind of looks like it reminds me of Dragon Quest Dungeons, I think it was called, or Dragon Quest Dungeons or Dragon Quest World or something like that. But it's cool. It's cartoony. It's open world. It looks fun. Pal World.
Yeah, Pal World is
that Pokemon with guns game, and it's coming. It's real somehow.
I feel like there's a cutesy little girl with like a little keychain of like a little Pikachu that's on the edge of her purse, and she's holding on to this little Pikachu stuffed animal.
But Pikachu's got a Glock.
She's wearing a school outfit and a skirt and like sucking on a lollipop, and she's skipping through the forest. And
so
then
kawaii.
So some like big buff muscular bald head ripped shirt man shows up like, "Give me all of your money, you little girl." And she's like, "Oh no!" and throws her Pikachu stuffed animal on the ground, and it just rips open, pulls apart, and pulls out a Gatling gun and goes and turns this dude into Swiss cheese.
Kind of. I mean, it's Pokemon with like, also like in the trailers they show the Pokemons like being forced to work as slaves in factories to make guns. Which is like another layer of messed up, but it's like to the cutesy like anime soundtrack. It's like, let's go on an adventure. Let's use our high caliber rounds to defeat these enemies. Let's force Pokemon into slave labor to make cheap arms productions to fuel warlords. Pal World. We're pals now. We're running out of ideas in the video game world that we have to start combining things that don't go together. And I'm here for it. I might play this game. This would be such a good game to stream because people would show up just to be like, "What the hell? Is this game as out of pocket as it looks?" And yes, it looks like it is going to be.
The only reason why I added the Lord of the Rings Return of Mora coming this fall on this list is because, oh my God, am I tired of seeing Lord of the Rings everything everywhere. Oh!
Do you see it everywhere? I don't feel like... I mean, there's always like... I feel like there's always a Lord of the Rings project in the works.
That's my point. It's
like it'll never be over. It was like this Netflix show, the Gollum spin-off game...
Like it's honestly, Star Wars is getting to this point where ever since Daddy Disney got a hold of it, that they've just made everything Star Wars everywhere. Lord of the Rings, whoever owns Lord of the Rings, they're doing the exact same thing. And I'm just
milk that cow till it's dead, and then they're gonna make a cheeseburger and sell it to you.
I'm just over it. I'm over it.
Twisted Metal. I don't know how you turn this game into a show.
Okay,
but they did, and I'm gonna watch it.
I'm so excited for this.
Anthony Mackie. I like Anthony Mackie.
You and I have a memory of sitting in your basement playing Twisted Metal and the ice cream truck. I am just so excited.
Dude. I'm gonna watch this. I don't know what it's gonna be like, but I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
Marvel Snap has a new competitive mode, Conquest mode. We haven't played Marvel Snap in a while.
We promoted Marvel Snap hard, and we were all into it. We liked it, but
it's going to get a proper competitive mode. I think proper competitive mode. I think it's some kind of tournament format. The Conquest mode format still kind of confuses me. I might pop in and try it out. The card acquisition they just never fixed. And they did a lot of like questionable like microtransaction stuff. Still a super fun game. I also just don't have time to play it because if I have time to breathe, I need to be approving clan applications for Diablo or fending people off of my back for using modern controls in Street Fighter. So we'll get back to Marvel Snap probably at some point. But Call of Duty.
I'm sorry
Speaking
that I
of
even put
things
this
that
on.
I'm sick of being around. Call of Duty, I mean, I haven't had any respect for the Call of Duty franchise since Modern Warfare 2. And do my eyes deceive me? That says Modern Warfare 2. Oh, that's right. Their new games were so bad that they decided to go. What was the last game we made that people actually liked? Modern Warfare 2. Yes, let's do that again. And it seems like they've managed to.
I mean, they did that with Black Ops. They made Black Ops 2 because they wanted to bring back all the love from Black Ops.
Yeah, there's some drama with Nick Merckx. They put his skin in the game. And then he said some things.
His comments were trying to be inclusive to different groups of people, and I guess the creators didn't agree with it.
It was kind of the other way around. I don't want to get into the specifics of this, but Call of Duty had some ideological conflicts with the creator that they put in the game. And so they took him out. And then everyone else said, we're uninstalling this game. What I think happened is all these creators don't like the game. Ask anybody who plays Modern Warfare, anybody who plays Call of Duty regularly, and go, do you like this game or do you feel like it stresses you out more? And I almost guarantee they're going to go, no, it stresses me out more, but I have to play it.
My boss
will
play this game just so that he can kill some little kids who say profanities.
I think a lot of people play this game for views and play it because it's the hot game, but give them a reason, an ideological reason to uninstall it and make a stand, and I think they will. And I think that a large amount of that is fueled by they don't really want to play the game in the first place. And if they have an excuse not to play it, they're going to take that.
I mean, Dr. Disrespect uninstalled the game. When was the last time Dr. Disrespect streamed the game is what I want to know.
He uninstalled Modern Warfare and talked more shit on Modern Warfare than anybody else that I can think of off the top of my head. And I agree with him. And so, like I said, I don't think he likes the game. I don't think most of the people who play the game like the game.
I think he talked more about it on his stream than he actually played it.
Yes, I think so. Anyway.
Path of Exile 2.
Path of Exile 2 looks cool. Path of Exile 1 is way older than most people
think. My God, yeah.
But really has gotten popular. It's like a hardcore version of Diablo, which seems needlessly complicated. But Path of Exile 2 is coming. Maybe they'll make it a little more user-friendly. Maybe it'll be more streamlined. I'm interested. I will be absolutely following that news with bated breath and trying it when it comes out. Unless I'm still fully addicted to Diablo, because they basically do the same thing. They scratch the same itch. Starfield and No Man's Sky, they're going for the same parking spot. Diablo and Path of Exile 2, same parking spot. And Diablo has already pulled into that spot and has already started tailgating. So they're really going to have to do some crazy stuff or wait a couple years before they launch that game.
Life of P is going to be getting a demo. If you don't know what Life of P is, I don't know how to help you understand what Life of P is, because I have watched the trailers and I don't fully know what Life of P is.
It is Dark Souls, right? It is Dark Souls, but the story is your Pinocchio.
So, Caretaker, Ascension's fiance, Caretaker, and Lady Sage were sitting on the couch, and I come walking in the apartment door to Caretaker's apartment, and I'm standing at the doorway, and I hear, "We want to buy the Pinocchio game where you kill things." And I was like, "Pinocchio kills things?" And like, "Yeah, we're gonna buy it." And I was just like, "Sure, let's do this." So it's gonna get played.
What? Netflix put out a Witcher season 3 trailer? I actually haven't seen this. Yeah. I'll have to watch that. This is the last season with what you call it?
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. So this will probably be the last season.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
So, not to go too much in the weeds, but the reason why Henry Cavill is leaving, from a business standpoint, I understand why they chose to separate their contract with him. From a purist of the content that they are creating, I understand why Henry Cavill fought them so hard to stay true, because he is such a huge fan of the original content. I, it's unfortunate that this is the path that led to this situation, because I think Henry Cavill was the right person for this role.
He is Geralt, and so that's what I'm saying.
He knows the character so well that he can bring that to the role, which is great. I don't know the new guy who they got to replace him. Maybe the show will be just as good.
Liam Hemsworth.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's great. I mean, they're gonna really have to like have a strong separation to where this is a different character than Geralt. Like it's gonna.
I don't think they're going to. I think it's going to be the exact same.
Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of Henry Cavill was asked in an interview, "What are you super nerdy about?" And he said, "Well, it's Warhammer 40,000, which is the next game we're talking about." Look at that segue.
Yep.
Space Marine 2 co-op. This looks good. This looks really good.
So Warhammer 40,000, while this game is coming out and the co-op is coming out, I know nothing about the series, but they are making a Warhammer show, right? And Henry Cavill,
they're making Warhammer everything. They have like 3 different games coming out.
And Henry Cavill is a part of that project as well.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, that's right. We did talk about that. So Warhammer 40,000 is a tabletop game.
Okay.
That you play with miniatures, and you play it. It's like an army. Think of like StarCraft, but the units you have miniatures of are your army, and that's how you play.
Okay.
So if you spent $10,000 on your army of miniatures, that's what you show up with. So it's kind of, and I don't know much about the game beyond that, but I know it's like a tabletop strategy game. So but you have to buy your army physically. That's how you play it.
What I'm hearing is I'm going to go to the nearest junkyard and I'm going to haul out 2 clunkers, bring it to my buddy's machine shop, and he's going to meld these cars down into millions of little characters.
Henry Cavill will come to your house and kick your pets. You can't do that. You can't do that. You have to buy the things. Ooh! Oh, never mind. I thought Fate Maker just went live playing Diablo. I'm like, we gotta wrap this up. We gotta go play with our friends. But it was somebody else. But the game looks cool. It's a first-person shooter, sci-fi. Is it first person or third person? Who cares? It's co-op. I want to play it. I'm gonna make you play it.
No.
Nick Getty's very interested in this.
All right.
Last was Capcom did their presentation. They went over a lot of games that they had already announced. Dragon's Dogma 2. So Dragon's Dogma 1, I've heard of, like, sort of, like, here and there. A lot of people say Dragon's Dogma is the best Dungeons and Dragons game. Like, Dungeons and Dragons-esque game. Like, if you want to play Dungeons and Dragons as a video game, Dragon's Dogma is very close. Dragon's Dogma 2 is the next one in the series. It looks amazing. I will 100% be picking it up when it comes out. It looks great. I want it. I don't have time. If there was a gap, if this was like last year at this time and we had sort of a drought of games, I would absolutely go back and get Dragon's Dogma 1 and try it out. But because of the absolute stockpile of games that we have right now, Dragon's Dogma 2 is gonna have to. I'm gonna have to wait and play that over going back and playing the first one. Oh, we made it.
Can
we wrap this up before the 2-hour mark?
We are 1 hour and 54 minutes and 44 seconds. Are you ready?
Yes.
So I want to just say that we are releasing this episode on Father's Day, and Father's Day is why our channel and our name exists. We are the Nintendads. We cater to the dad audience, and I want to just say thank you for everybody who has followed us over the years and has been a part of our channel and our growth, our Discord community. And I also want to just thank everybody for just listening to our podcast and being a part of this journey of ours.
Y'all are the best. You make it possible to do what we do.
Happy Father's Day to each and every one of you who are out there. Thank you very much for tuning in. Special shout outs to Daddy Borelli, my father, who helped bring me into this world, and
shout outs to Daddy O, Mr. Iron Man out there.
Thank you, everybody. Presto, the side quest of the day is, what dad advice do you have for other fathers out there?
Ooh. Is there any specific tree you're barking up, or just
Nope.
general?
What do you think as a father, new coming fathers should know? What do you think has been most impactful to you being a successful father?
I guess, and I'm stealing this from somebody else that I heard a while back, but people often think of their life in like chunks. Like you have, you wake up and your husband, and then you go to work and your coworker, and then you come home and you have to be dad. And then at the end of the day, there's whatever's left. And people often think that like, oh, I'm living my life. I have kids, and life is tough with kids. Life's complicated with kids. You're trying to do your life and kids kind of get in the way. But I would encourage you to think of it the other way around. Kids are life. Everything else is sort of peripheral. I mean, if you really get down to it, in the day-to-day, we sort of have that attitude of like, oh, everything's crazy, and then I have the kids. But it really should be, I'm raising children, and providing for my family as a job, and doing a podcast with my crazy best friend, and trying to play games. But at the center of it, when you really think about it, taking care of your kids and raising your kids and giving them the best of you is the primary thing. And I think if you can think about that and reflect upon that every once in a while, it offers some good perspective. The other thing is just figure out a way to be really patient. Just think about being patient. Just patience can go a long way with kids, and it's hard to do. But I think if you maintain that first perspective I talked about, it will aid you in being more patient. So that's my dad advice.
Good advice.
What's your dad advice?
My dad advice is
wear sunscreen.
We run through life. We have jobs, we've got projects, we've got podcasts, we've got so many things that happen. And sometimes we even allow the children to manage our lives and what we can do. And it's very easy for parents, husband and wife, or whatever your situation is, to forget each other. Remember that you are there for your children and that your children are number one, and that's everything that you're doing for. But do not forget your spouse in the matter. Set time aside for each other. Set time aside for yourself, because you can only be the best father you can be when you are at your core the best self you can be.
Oh, I like it. Look at us. Some unconventional wisdom from the Nintendads here. You're only going to get this type of deep thought once a year, so enjoy it, folks. We have 30 seconds before it hits the 2-hour mark. So make some dumb joke, and that'll be the end of the episode.
What?
Oh, no!
Wear sunscreen. Who's there?
Boo.
Boo-hoo.
Don't cry. The episode's over. Bye, everybody!